So if you didn't know, they severely nerfed Void Purge this patch. So if you're in strong, you'll still have skill penalties, but if you're not, then there won't be any penalties on your skill power. So it's a pretty big nerf to the Purge. Okay, let's go over Ines's skills. So her passive gives her skill crit rate based on her MP, and then you get 6.5% of whatever your MP is after all the things. So we got to increase our max MP as much as possible through the substat on the sensor. So max MP there, and then like if you have 400 MP, it gives 20% crit rate, so it's really good. And then it also has your passive is Dark Current, which is basically like a Freyna cascading effect. It's really good. And then Snare Hunter, if you hit an enemy with it, it ticks like 4 times for every 1 time outside. So you want to hit enemies in the center because it's 4 times faster than the outside of it. And then Snare Acrobatics has a really high modifier, so you're going to be doing like 10 million damage if you hit an enemy with it, but it also takes the same resource as Snare Hunter, so you may or may not want to use it. I don't want to use it because it takes too much resources, and we need HP, so we don't have the cost reduction. And then Lightning Conductor, what this does is, let's summon some enemies. If I use it, it does that. Pretty good. Does millions of damage. These are max level enemies. So we need to increase these as much as possible, and then floating lightning increases based on your bounces and your skill power. So you need range to increase the bounces, and it does that. That's pretty good. And then what we need to do in Arche Tuning, I'm going to have a build without Arche Tuning, but we need skill cooldown to spam the 1 and 2 as fast as possible. And then when you're just going for skill power, and range gives an extra bounce on your thing, so it's pretty useful. And then this also gives skill crit rate, and then there's skill cost reduction, so that helps, so you don't need one of the modules. And then so skill crit damage, she scales really good on skill crit and skill crit damage. So if we look at here, I have a 5.59 crit damage multiplier, so at a 95% chance, so she is insane with that. And then what we need to do, increase the damage as much as possible, so we need skill tech modifier, power, and then we're just increasing our crit as much as possible. And then we need to increase our HP. So you need HP as a substat on luxury power, and then you need max MP on the sensor with the max recovery in combat, and then you need max HP and defense on this, and then max HP, I mean, you already get that. So we're going for cooldown on the Hunter sensor because it helps a lot to spam her skills, like her Lightning Conductor, her Snare Hunter, and her Floating Lightning. And then skill cost reduction. So I replaced this because we need HP. So it's replacing maximize conservation because we need 2 HP modules, or we'll fall on our face every 2 seconds from how high the damage is in Void Purge. So you need as much HP as possible, and then we're just doing crit damage that increases our crit damage by a lot, and we need skill cooldown on the reactor. So that's all we're doing, decreasing the cooldown, going crit, and then skill effect range is for the Snare Hunter and the Floating Lightning to get more bounces. It also helps the Lightning Conductor though. And then that is what we're doing with Arche Tuning. If you don't have Arche Tuning, then you can go like this. So we're sacrificing some crit damage to increase our crit rate. So if you look at our stats, let me back out to go to without Arche Tuning. So if you look at our stats, we are giving up the crit damage here for crit rate because Arche Tuning, if you look here, it gives crit rate. So we can go for more crit damage, but that's the only difference. You just got to swap out crit hit rate. you're doing like it's like 20 something to 30% less damage. So it's kind of big. I could do with Arche Tuning in 5 minutes and without Arche Tuning in 7 minutes. So it's a pretty big jump. Okay, so let's talk guns. So the Secret Garden, when you get to the max, it has a skill, tech skills. It increases the skill power by 16% per stack, and you could stack it up to 3 times. So this is just a 40, it's like a 48% extra skill power buff if you use the Secret Garden. And then the last dagger for the boss, you want to have 2 firearm cores, a fire rate core, rounds per magazine, and chill attack. You could do crit damage, but if you're doing 30, then you would want to do chill attack, and then chill, and then we're just increasing our crit damage as much as possible and weak point. Okay, so for inversion reinforcement, you can do this one, and this one. This increases your HP depending on how many enemies you kill. It stacks up to 5 times. This one is chill attack on your gun, and then this one is skill cooldown. It's Ines. Okay, so this is with the Arche Tuning, so you just want to go and spam your 1, 2, and your 4 at groups of enemies when you get when you can have enough resources to press your 4 anyway. So you just want to spam your 1, 2, and 4, and then you just want to circle so you don't get hit. Even though I have 21,000 health on the build, it is not invulnerable. And you just like speed through the mission. This is at 2 times speed though. The 1 requires line of sight, the 2 doesn't, and the 4 doesn't. So you just want to spam your 2 the most. That's the most important one. And then your Q, or your 1 after that. But ideally, you'd just be spamming both on the controller or PC. I only got to rank 31 on this though, on the leaderboard, so and then for the boss, you'd ideally want a gun like the last dagger, because skill damage doesn't do that as much damage as the last dagger. So you just want to shoot him in the face with the last dagger. Does way more damage than your skill damage. You can still do it with your skill damage, it'll just be way slower. So this is without Arche Tuning, so you have less skill, you have more skill cost for the skills, and you have less bounces on your 1, so that's less damage, and then you have slightly less crit damage. So it's still a really good build. You just get less damage. You just want to bounce around and use your spam your 1, 2, and 4 when you can at groups of enemies. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment if this helped, and goodbye.